Welcome again, everyone. This is the second official episode of Inside the PFL. I am your champion, El Zubador, Joe, and I'm here with my co-commissions. We got Manny.
The 2-0 squad.
And we got Thomas.
Yo.
The 1-1 squad.
Yes. Feels bad.
We're going over this week 2 of Season 6 of the PFL, and this was, I don't know about you guys, we're going to get right into just the favorite moment of the week, but let me tell you, there were some ugly fucking matches this week.
Oh my god.
It was terrible.
I don't even want to talk about it, to be honest. I don't know why we're doing this week.
I want to eat a Tide Pod.
I'd rather watch my victory over and over than basically every other match that happened this week.
Same.
I'd rather watch Murphy and Rob.
You're lying, Thomas. But I'm sure that Manny has all of these opinions and more. If we want to go right into it here, we're going to go blazing a trail right now, right into Manny's weekend observations, which, Manny, if you please, you may step to the mic.
The hot take diva is back. All right, I got plenty of hot takes about everybody, okay? Are you ready? They're going to be flying. They're coming fast, all right?
I got my shield up.
My body is Reggie.
Joe! I'll have to give myself a big pat on the back, but I can't reach that far. The only thing that I'm reaching for this season is another championship.
Oh, shit.
Just like Thomas, Derek felt the wrath of Entei, or was it Zurark? Neither of them could tell, until it was too late. Derek is well on his way to a date with Trevor for last place. The 2-0 club, Manny, Joe, Murphy, M1, Kyle, just like everyone drew it up. Speaking of M1, I wonder, is Pincher's back gonna start to hurt? After all, a little bug can only carry you so far. Just kidding. He's a beast. M1, championship, collision course.
That's a hot take there.
Joe, you're not done yet.
Oh, shit. Oh, no, I'm up on the chopping block?
You're 2-0, but I think you're a little bit closer to 0-2. Trevor finally figured it out and won a battle. Unfortunately for him, it was against James's collection of misfit toys. James, I'll be frank with you. Your team needs to be dumpstered. I'm pretty sure Tony Stark could build a better team in a cave with a box of scraps. I'll be honest, Rob. You're a serious case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Sometimes you look like a champion, and other times, like Mike. M1 activated Mario's trap card. Bitch mode. When in bitch mode, do not collect a win. You can be fluent in any language by immersing yourself in the culture. Now this isn't true for Tyler, because he has spent a very long time in the garbage bin, and he still doesn't know how to trash talk. Thomas almost 6-0'd him, but he let Tyler escape. I can tell that you're related to Mario, because you both activated bitch mode.
Ooh.
Thomas, Mario, I can't believe I'm saying this. Be more like Mike.
Oh my
Joe!
god!
And those are the weekend observation.
Oh, shit. So,
Oh my
all right,
God.
Manny, you ended on a great note there, and not to sully that, but we did just, 2 minutes before recording, watched Kyle versus Gage. You got any takes for that?
Well, one, I think we should vote to ban Kyle from the league. Two, what is Gage doing out there? Was he playing the same game? Do you think he was playing against bots? Like, what? Do you think Kyle was playing against a bot? Like, is Gage a real person?
Can we check that, Thomas? Can you double check that? Can we make sure that Gage is a real person?
Dude, I'm pretty sure I've been at his house.
You're pretty sure? This doesn't sound too confident.
I thought I was at his house.
Oh, shit, Manny, if you wanted to do... When did you want to do Catherine's thing?
We do it right now since it's part of the weekend observations. Since I am the hot take diva here. some of my hot takes have rubbed off on my fiance Catherine, and she just has one hot take to give us all, and it's especially hot and spicy.
I'm ready for it.
Her quote: "You're all nerds."
Damn.
Oh my god.
Dude, that one hurts the most, honestly.
Cuts deep.
I gotta be honest with you. Like the thing you said last week about Entei, not that bad. This, whoo.
So getting on with what we've got for the week itself here. Again, a week of some really dirty, rough, terrible games. I think, though, the first one that we're starting with here, the first one in my notes anyway, M1 over Mario +2, this was actually, I think, a very surprising game to me, to a lot of people, I think.
I'm so ashamed of Mario. He played so scared the whole game.
He really did.
I was on the phone with him while it was going on. He was scared on the phone because, really, we run into a thing here where you need to prepare for the threats and not the player, because, again, we've said many a time here, M1, just kind of getting back into Pokemon here, not really, still getting the lay of the land and things, and he gets the win over here because, Mario might think, he's bringing Conkeldurr, but what's he really going to put on Conkeldurr, huh? And then he was still ended up scared of it anyway, so actually I don't know what was going on in Mario's head.
I called Mario after that match, right? And I asked him, like, what happened? And he said, well, I just didn't prep for Meloetta. I said, well, why not? He just didn't have an answer for me.
You prepare for everything.
Dude.
And that's one of the reasons that Meloetta was brought was because, after Florges' performance last week, a star-making performance, you put him on the bench this week because you think they're going to try to pull that. Again, it's kind of you're throwing shit at your opponent to make you think they're going to do something. And Mario was not convinced, but he was fairly certain that Florges was going to show up. And look what happened when it didn't.
Mind games.
Prepare for the Mons, not the player. I know we have to stress this a lot of the times when we played like Tyler, but you gotta play the Mons. I know me and you talked about Joe. Me and you talked about earlier in the week about how like no matter who you're facing, it's just like I had anxiety over facing Derek.
Right.
So.
And look what happened. And that's the thing. No offense to Preston or anything. I was just the entire week I was like, what the fuck am I going to do to Mega Alakazam? And it happens. So, and you come up with really stupid sets, but we'll get to that. The next match we're going to be moving on to here, a Carmine over Tristan +1, which I am not sure if it's a return to form for Carmine or if he kind of eked this one out, because you and I both said, Manny, or both, kind of commented, Carmine didn't play amazingly in the match.
I think his week 1 rust is carrying over into week 2.
True.
He needs to get some WD-40.
It was a rough match because he had all the tools that he needed, because it was, Tyranitar and Excadrill and stuff, and he had the answers for it. I don't know, it was like, Tristan nearly got it. I was telling Thomas right before we started here, if Klefki got a bit of a higher roll on a Dazzling Gleam to kill Excadrill, I think that, with just Mien Shao, Klefki's probably dead from a high jump kick, but hey, at 85% it might miss, or 90%, whatever it is. You don't know, and then Mien Shao loses 50% of its health and it's over.
I just think he's having trouble with like adjusting to his team. Like Rain is not the same as Sand, even though they kind of play the same. But they're not. Sand is much more aggressive.
Yeah, I would argue that Rain is a much bulkier, much slower play than a Sand. I think Sand is very you need to press your advantage quickly, or it can blow up in your face. Because while you do get that boost in special defense, I think that you also are weak to a lot of commonly brought moves like Scald, Giga Drain.
You don't want to sit on that boost. You want to just use it to your advantage and start applying the pressure.
Right.
Also, people remember to calc that special defense increase when you're versing a Sand team. Don't forget.
So earlier this week, Mike listened to the week 1 thing, and he kept saying, "Stop giving people advice on how to beat me." So there was just another one here, guys. If you're playing Mike, remember Mega Tyranitar or Rock types in the Sand, special defense boost. They basically get an assault vest, so be careful of that.
Yeah, you got him with that physical, that good Mach Punch, Brick Break,
and make sure to watch out for Bandit Ape.
Oh my god.
Let's jump right down to that one real quick. Okay, Mike will not stop banning Infernape. We talked about it last week. Again, Manny, you said he never changes his set. He didn't change his set!
No.
We were talking before the match, Mike, and I was like, hey, give him the 50% berry or something. Give yourself a little bit of, wiggle room here in terms of what you want to do with Infernape, and then he ended up banning him anyway, which, in the end, didn't make much of a difference if he had the 50% berry or not. He ended up getting paralyzed anyway, and Parahack still might have happened. Like, he would have had a little bit more health from not doing Flare Blitz as much. But, like, Mike's win over Dan was a bit of a... It was heart-stopping. Like, Mike was shaken by the end of it.
Like, those 6 Infernape kills that he has this season, it's like, yeah, you can stick to that point and say, yeah, like, Infernape racking me up the kills. But, like, he's tier 1 for a reason. Like, he has some of the most ridiculous sets, all this nonsense, and, like, special physical mix, and you can do whatever you want with him. But, we're sitting here hitting our head off a wall.
Do you think the problem with that is, though, that Infernape's his big physical threat, so that's kind of why it always ends up in that position, though?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be careful with mixed threats, because you don't want to pigeonhole them into doing one specific thing for you. That's kind of the downside of drafting mixed threats, is that, like, if you don't draft enough support around them, then they get pigeonholed into doing one specific thing. It wouldn't hurt every now and then to, mix it up.
I mean, he does have Tyranitar, too, so I don't know what Mike's doing.
Exactly. So, I have an interesting question about this game. Do you think this game was more Mike winning or Dan losing? Because those are two very different things.
100% Dan losing, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
I messaged Manny in the middle of the battle, Mike's boned, and this was when he was down, like, 6-3, and then he managed to pull it out. I'm like, oh shit, Mike wasn't boned, he did it. But it's tough because Mike told me and basically Mike had to play perfectly in the second half of the game, and he basically did. But man, it's tough because I feel like we disrespect Mike enough on this podcast. I think he earned that win. Okay, I changed my mind. I think he earned that win.
Enough. I'm gonna be on the fence on that one.
Yeah, I gotta stay on the fence on that one too, because, like, looking at the teams, watching the match again, like, Dan had the tools to win. He also didn't bring Defog on anything, which I think was a misplay, because Defog would have been extremely helpful.
No, you need that hazard removal. I feel like hazards are starting to become more prominent in the league after... I feel like at one point in Season 3, you and I were the only people using rocks, Thomas, and then...
Oh, yeah, dude. I love rocks.
And
rocks
thankfully, it's
huge.
more... Well, I say thankfully it's more widespread. Now it makes it harder to win, so fuck you all. Don't use rocks anymore. That's my thing.
Well,
Dibs.
I think people have gotten smarter.
That too.
I think Trevor's a perfect example of people getting smarter after playing in the league for a couple of seasons.
Is he though?
Are we gonna talk about Trevor over James right now?
No, I just want you to prove it. I don't know.
Okay, Trevor's definitely has improved, but there are still things where Trevor will make common mistakes that when they happen, I'm just like, fuck, why'd you do that?
When Trevor,
Yeah, but we've all made common mistakes.
right? But when Trevor didn't hit, was it Hyper Voice last week? I hit myself in the forehead so hard that Catherine literally turned around and she was like, "Why would you do that?" And I was like, I was disgusted.
Really, RNG in that match with Trevor over James +2, which I think was actually not one of the dirty and grimy matches of the week. That was a very fun one because we got not only the fucking freeze counter and let's go back to Mike's real quick. Mike getting 0 turns on a freeze is fucking bullshit.
Oh my god. I was sitting in Discord with Dan. I was like, click the move. What happens if you turn 1 thaw? And then he did it. And I was like, can I just, like, predict myself to win lots of money and then have it happen? Because that'd be pretty neat.
And the exact same thing happened in the match versus... with Trevor versus James here, where not only did he get either a 0 or a 1 on the freeze counter, he got 2 sleeps that were just like instantly like, oh, I'm back. Here I am.
I mean, if you're gonna put RNG, like sleep powder, into your game strategy and it doesn't work for you, like, that's your fault for prepping that way.
Is it James trying to get, like, cheeky, or is it James having to do that because of his team?
He has to do that.
I think he has to do that is the problem.
Which then brings us to, is this tier 5 experiment over, or do you think he's still gonna grunt it out?
No, I think he's gonna grunt it out because he's literally like a few crits away from winning the first game, and he's like a few extra turns of sleep away from winning this game. So.
But can you say with, like, any type of certainty that, like, I wanna play this game hoping for that 4% chance that I get a crit to win me a match?
Right, exactly.
So then why would you do that?
He wants to prove a point. I think this is going to be a really important week for this team here because James is facing Mike, and there's nothing that James likes more than beating Mike. And if he beats Mike with this team...
Oh, Mike is going to be scared shitless.
It's going to be a shit show, first of all.
If he wins with this team, I think Mike might drop out of the league. I gotta be honest with you. Like, I really think that this would just demoralize him past the point of no return.
I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go. I feel like that one's. We'll get to the predictions eventually, but
A closing note: if James loses next week, he has to call it quits because he'll be 0-3 if he loses next week, and then that's gonna push him it's gonna make his playoff climb so much harder, even if he does decide to switch teams. So like switching now would probably be better, but who knows?
you can only switch so much. But yeah, I feel like the last stand of the tier 5 my ass team is against Mike, and if he can't beat Mike, then it's over, and he gets 3 super big nukes.
And the question is Mike Mount Everest, or is it just like a little kitty mountain in your backyard?
We'll find
He's
out.
the slide.
Yeah, he's the slide.
He's the twisty slide. So we got here one of the other big wins of the week. We've got our very own Manny here getting a +5
Woo!
on Derek, which you and I talked through most of the week, Manny, in regards to prepping for this game where, like you said, everybody's a threat. And even though this game ended a +5, Derek had a lot of stuff that could have boned you in the right scenario.
Yes, yeah, and like I had to play carefully, but there was never a point in time where I felt that the match was ever out of my court. I always thought it was mine to lose. That turn 1 play where I pigeonholed him, I knew his 2 Entei switches were Slowbro and Gliker. So I knew if I led Zor, disguises Entei as a lead, I could 1-tap the Slowbro and I could 2-tap the Gliker. So it was a pretty big no-brainer there. So, and then as soon as I was at turn 2 or turn 3, I was up 6-5. I knew the game was downhill from there.
Oh, I just want to say one thing for Derek, and this is going to go on official record for everybody here. If he brings Gyro Ball on Magnezone one more time, we as commissioners are voting, and by voting I mean all agreeing, to force him to drop Magnezone as a Pokemon and pick up something else. It will then become free for anybody else to pick up, like with one of your pickups for the points and everything. I'm letting that be known to the entire league because I'm tired of this shit. I threatened him at 3 in the morning his time, 10:30 here. I said if you do it again, we're making you drop it because it pains me to watch such a good Pokemon deal with bullshit like Gyro Ball.
Now you know how I feel when I watch Mike.
Thomas, I was gonna say, do you how much do you love Magnezone?
I brought Magnezone a lot in Gen 6 because it was just a good Pokemon. Because Ferrothorn was stupid in Gen 6, and I don't know, it just I cry a little bit on the inside watching it be disrespected like this.
There was a moment in this match where, and again, you or I were talking as the match was going, Manny, where he gets a shift gear off with Magearna. He gets the Soul Heart boost. You have he doesn't get the Soul Heart boost yet. You have a very low health, like 8% Silvally in. And he chooses to go Volt Switch when literally any other move would have kept him in with Shift Gear and Soul Heart activated. And what the fuck happened there? He goes Volt Switch.
He had Flash Cannon with the Z Steel move. So even with the +1 from the Soul Heart and the +2 from the Shift Gear, that Steel move and that Fairy move isn't getting past my max health Aviente. I mean, it was scary at the time, but then after finding out his set, I was much less, it was just kind of less troubling.
Well, I think that if he stayed in on, if he got the plus, right, with Soul Heart, and then Entei came in and he hit that with a +1 Volt Switch, I think it would have been a little bit more chip. Maybe it could have done something a little better for him in the match than pussying out, kind of.
Getting out of there for basically no reason. But I live and learn. Again, hanging on the edge of tomorrow.
In a lot of matches, if you gotta come back or if it's very close, any little victory can get you, any little chip can be a huge turn in the match for you.
Definitely. And I was talking to Joe, and that's pretty much what I was talking about, with Magnezone and all these mods. I was like, I just need a little more chip here, a little more chip there. And I just kept rotating between Savali Ghost and Tornadus.
That's why I am an advocate of Stealth Rocks, because that just gets you your chip, dude. It gets your chip so easy.
So let's move on to your match here, Thomas. Your +3 over Tyler, where at the beginning of the match, it looked like you were going to put him away basically with no problem.
All right. So I have one thing to say for myself, and that is I was scared shitless of Scarfed Electivire. And then looking back on the match, I then realized that I brought Sashed Crocodile to deal specifically with Scarfed Electivire. And I'm just ashamed, if anything.
We're finding here keeping up your late game is a problem that has plagued both of you so far, where as it gets later into the match and you have a comfortable lead, you kind of end up sacking one or two Pokemon, where I don't think it'll cause a gigantic problem, but it's something you always want to be wary of.
Yeah, that Lopunny play, I don't know why I didn't expect Psychic, like, at all. I was like, I have enough Dark types, maybe he won't click Psychic. But he did, because he's Tyler.
Exactly. You can't predict Tyler.
Yeah, and like, he doesn't think ahead, so there's that. When Supersonic Sky Strike did 10% to Celesteela, I was texting, so I wasn't paying attention, and I'm looking down, and I just hear a bunch of laughing from Discord, and I was like, whoa, what's so funny? I looked up, and I looked at the chat, and I was like, oh!
So, I talked a little bit with Tyler today, as we saw, as I'm sure all of us saw, I hope so anyway, a private conversation that Mike decided to divulge to everybody, where Tyler said that Thomas had nothing to stop him. And then when talking with Tyler a little bit today, he did not prepare for Celesteela at all, so I don't know what the fuck Tyler is talking about.
So, don't prep for the tier S disgusting mon with 100 in, attack, defense, special attack, special defense.
I just read in, like, Morgan Freeman's voice came in my head in, like, a narrator thing, and I was like, he did not have a plan.
I read it like Ron Howard in Arrested Development.
Oh, exactly. Yep. Yeah, that too.
What I was thinking, well, first of all, I brought Sunny Day on Persian, expecting him to bring rain, because his Caesar was a threat to my team, and the only way I could deal with it would be Flamethrower on Celesteela, or bringing HP Fire on, like, 2 other mons that I won't disclose. So, like, I was like, getting ready for it, and then he didn't bring it, and that's the first thing I said in the team preview. I was like, he didn't bring rain. So now does he just lose to Celesteela, or...
You bring up a good point, which makes for a smooth transition into my match this week here, Thomas, where you just don't want to disclose Pokemon that have Flamethrower on your team.
You want to keep all your sets hidden as long as possible, because just like Thomas said, like, he was so scared of that Scarf, and then that's what happened to me last week against Thomas. I was so scared of Scarf Crook or Bandage Crook, and I couldn't tell which one it was. Hiding your sets is, like, super important.
Yeah. I'm also a firm believer in if a Scarfed Pokemon that you have, or a banded Pokemon, or not really Specs, because that doesn't happen a lot, but one of those two, if you can bring rocks on them, or, like, taunt, even, especially on, like, a Scarf user, like, I'm sorry, but nobody expects that shit.
But the whole reason I bring this up is in my match here against Preston, not only did I again, had to pull out all the stops to get anything faster than Mega Alakazam, so I revealed, like, I have, the Trick Room ability. I tried doing some shit with Snorlax in there. I used up my Rock Polish set, which I think is a really... People are going to be like, oh shit, Terrakion has Rock Polish. I got to be really fucking careful now.
Yeah, I was watching and I was like, Snorlax shouldn't have tanked that hit. Terrakion does get Rock Polish. Well, it was a good match, Preston.
Which brings to the other point here of stupid sets where, Thomas, you were incredibly confused by the Snorlax set that I brought.
Oh my god, dude. I'm sitting there, because he asked me to run a calc for him, and I was like, oh, yeah, I got you. And I'm looking at it, I'm just like, this math, not adding up. Not once. If he brought a Z move, none of this shit makes sense. And then I asked you, and you're like, I brought AV. And I was like, you know what's funny? I literally was talking about that with, like, Murphy the day before. I was like, people always expect their Z captains to have Z moves, but, like, you don't have to. Because, like, I've thought about bringing, like, Leftovers Regenerator Reuniclus against Manny, because I just couldn't find a Z move that I liked. And then Kyle talked me into bringing Psychonium Z, because, like, I just hit something hard with it that wasn't a Dark type.
I mean, I feel like that's another big... We talk about mind games a lot, but that's another one here. I went in with AV Snorlax with no normal moves, so I was just coverage out the ass, trying to do as much damage as I could in Trick Room while it was up, and I tanked a ton of shit with it.
You did. So many head scratches, I gotta say.
And Joe, how about when we talked over the weekend about my Tornadus set? That was the wonkiest set I've ever done in my life.
Oh yeah, can you remind us? Because I don't remember exactly.
He was timid, with max HP, max speed, and he was Life Orb to cover up the, like, not putting any investment in his special attack. And my whole design behind him was to, I don't care about Life Orb recoil, because I just regenerate. So I would go in, outspeed something, hit it hard with a special attack, and like Joe, I was basically coverage. And then I would just U-turn out and get momentum and get all my health back. and be able to tank hits because I have, a monstrous health pool.
It was a good set too, and one thing that we again failed to mention here: how about Magician stealing the life orb from Tornadoes?
Oh, I
dude.
talked to Derek about
Plan.
that. Oh my god! That's the second thing I said to him about the match. The first thing was the mag, and the second thing was, so how bad do you feel that your magician stole the wrong item?
Because we were trying to determine as well, like, what is Delphox, like, what does Delphox have? Is it scarfed? Like, what is he running here? And then, because it was up against Silvally and he can't steal the RKS system plate, so yeah, fucking Tornado switches in, and its life orb is gone, and then Delphox is dead.
Always look at the team preview, guys. Always look at the team preview.
Actually, you know what? That helps. It tells you if there's an item, which you always forget about that.
Right. So always look at the team preview.
Going back to stupid sets, I think in reverse, like, as an argument to stupid sets, Protect Scouting is one of the best tools, I think, on a defensive mon, or even an offensive mon, really.
It is.
To see. I clicked Protect
Scout.
against Tyler so many times because I just wanted to know what he was going to do.
There's a lot of value in that.
Because if you can condition your opponent, and then instead of changing, you just click Protect to see what they might try to switch it up with if you're conditioning them. And now you know everything they're going to do. And it gathers
And if you're
you
lucky,
more
they're locked
information.
into it too.
Speaking of Protect, did Kyle bring it on every one of his mons? Or
I'd like
did he
to
bring
think...
Toxic Protect on everyone?
I like to think that he brought Toxic Protect Wish on every mon except for Skeptile and Gengar. Every other mon, yeah,
What was that?
I believe so.
It was a disgusting game, one that I'm like feel absolutely filthy. Like right now doing this podcast, I need to take a shower.
Yeah,
after watching that match
I was about to
because
say, like, I need a nice long cold shower.
this match dictates the importance of answers, because what did Gage have for any of that?
Didn't prep.
I got a question if Gage even knew what he was playing against.
Yeah.
Or did he
So,
just...
yeah, we're going back to the is he a real person question.
Yeah, did he just bring 6 Pokemon? Or did he actually think about his moves? Also, if I see Leech Seed spammed into a grass type one more damn time, I'm gonna throw my keyboard across my room.
That's Mega Venusaur versus Ferrothorn is the most boring match on the planet, I think.
Was there no HP Fire? Not one? Did nobody have HP Fire against the Ferrothorn?
I know we've been avoiding it here, but we really got to talk about, because Garrison
ugliest
versus
match.
Dave hasn't happened yet, so we're not going to talk about it. The ugliest I was telling Thomas today, I felt like I was going to burst into flames watching this match.
Oh my god, I had to stop watching.
Murphy's +3 win over Rob, where not once is understandable. Twice, what are you doing? 3 times, okay, Rob. All right, okay. So, Comfey's out. All right, so we got Comfey. It's got priority on its draining moves. Good. It's a good ability, and there's Quagsire, and you're just like, okay, Quagsire's 4 times weak to grass. Let me hit Giga Drain here, and then, oh, wait a minute, here comes Lucario, where he resisted here, and then, again, so you're at this the second time. What is stopping him from switching into Lucario again? At the very least, Draining Kiss isn't going to do a lot, but it is neutral, and it will do like 25% damage, and when you're in there in the third situation, maybe it prevents him from thinking, maybe I should go into Lucario here.
Depending on the set, Draining Kiss was doing anywhere from like a quarter to a half to Lucario. If it was like modest choice specs, max special attack, I think it did like 50%. But if it was no investment in special attack, it was doing
No, it was like 25% max.
Yeah, it was like doing 25 max. Like a low roll would have been like
Still.
17, I think. I don't remember exactly.
Still, then he can only switch into Comfey like 4 times. He switched into Comfey.
And there's priority,
at least
so
9.
he dares him to, after Lucario gets down to a certain amount, he can hit it twice in a row on a switch in.
Yeah.
So,
Right, he could 2-tap.
God, just watching Quagsire eat those hits, I was so angry.
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite's when people set up in front of Quagsire. That's the best. Shout out to Tyler doing that to me. That's the best feeling in the world.
Again, a little hot tip for everybody here. Quagsire has Unaware. Don't set up in front of it because it's not going to matter.
Clefable also has Unaware. Fun fact of the day.
Noted.
Yes, it does. I think we're done with the battles this week here. I think we're going to go right into the Thomas, your segment here of the sort of team overviews here. Who you got for us this week?
All right, this week I got your boy Booby and Murphy, as it was the
Oh,
more.
a smooth transition.
Yeah, for me personally, because I helped Murphy out in this team builder, I enjoyed watching this match, but for others it was not as fun.
Also, as well, considering we said that one game of the week moves on, because Dave and Garrison have not gone yet. This horrible trash heap of a game has to move on to be the game of the week that we pick to move forward toward the big old what's the best game of the season. Which it might, who knows, it might get by on meme power just because it was so bad.
Yeah. All right. So I don't even want to talk about this match. So getting into the team previews here, we got Booby with Majin Buu. Again, I appreciate all the Dragon Ball Z puns this season. So he's got Zard
My
X.
idea, you're welcome.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, Manny. So we got Zard X. This thing is disgusting. It's been my favorite Mega, on release. I always thought it was good. As soon as I saw that Zard got 2 forms, I was really happy. This thing is gross, bulky, just go for it type set. I've even seen Trick Room on this Pokemon. Well, not like bringing Trick Room, but like a Trick Room set, which is very interesting. Then we got Zapdos. Since Gen 1, this Pokemon has always been used in competitive play. Since Gen 1, this Pokemon's always been disgusting. Watch out. Its physical set actually isn't even that bad. It's a huge wall. It has a 125 special attack. It's got Roost, Defog, Heat Wave. It's got good stuff. Cresselia, speaking of huge walls. Oh my god. 120 defense, 130 special defense. Moonlight, gross other moves. Moonblast. I don't know. It's just disgusting. Metagross. I have a soft spot in my heart for Metagross. I love Banded Metagross. I love Sash lead Metagross. I like tanky lead Metagross. I like Scarf Metagross if you're feeling frisky. Porygon Z. Porygon Z as his Z captain is interesting in my opinion because you cannot use Z conversion, which for those of you who don't know, give you +1 on every stat, and then the second move in your out of your 4 is what type it becomes. So very commonly it'll become an electric type or be a ghost type to give it 2 immunities. With a special attack stat at 135, its speed tier is not great at 90, but it can make plays. And I think Bobby over here will make some great plays with it in the rest of the season. Roserade. Roserade was actually stolen from me. I really wanted it this season. It's a great Life Orb user, honestly. It's a good Assault Vest user in my opinion. It's got a very good special attack stat at 125 and a 90 speed tier for the amount of points it's worth. It gives you access to spikes and toxic spikes. It's got some decent coverage. Umbreon. Umbreon has a very soft spot in my heart. It'll always be just a great Pokemon in my opinion, but maybe not to the ladder. But in draft format, I think it also has a lot of uses. I think now with a lot of people drafting fairies and fairies running around, it brings it down a little bit, and how important I think a good fighting type is in draft format because of how much priority fighting type moves have with like Mach Punch and Vacuum Wave and stuff like that. Dusknoir, I think Dusknoir can do well. I think it's a very tricky Pokemon to get off to do well because it's a good wall, but at the same time, like you want to be a decent physical attacker with that 100 base attack, but it's 45 speed tier and it's 45 base HP. I think just limit it. Though if you want a good ghost type for a low amount of points, I think that this is a great pickup. It has great coverage. Comfy, we were just talking about with Triage, is an amazing ability because it gets like Giga Drain, Draining Kiss, Leech Seed. It gets a lot of drain moves. It's bulkier than it looks. It takes some hits. I was running calcs against this thing. I think people are gonna sleep on it. Caracosta. I think Caracosta is kind of a gimmicky Pokemon in my opinion. I think its Shell Smash set is its only real worth besides being a Stealth Rock setter. It's just not good enough. I think.
Thomas, do you mind if I just stop you real quick? Because
Yeah.
I know that I've had this conversation. I don't know if I've had this conversation with everybody. I feel like I have it with everybody. Caracosta or Barbaracle when it comes to the 2 Shell Smashers there. It sounds like you're more for Barbaracle.
Oh, 100%. I think Barbaracle has better coverage. I think that Barbaracle has better stats to abuse it. I think that having a 32 speed and your only redeeming quality being your defense.
Solid Rock's a good ability though too.
I agree, but it also gets sturdy and Swift Swim, and I think that you need like Rain Dance. You need Rain for Shell Smash Caracosta to really go off, but you don't need Rain for Shell Smash Barbaracle to really go off. And then rounding out Bobby's team here is we got Scyther. Eviolite Scyther is a really cool set. I think it's really interesting. It gets Tailwind, it gets defog. That's what I was looking for. It got defog recently, I'm pretty sure, and that I think gives us a lot of merit. Something that can still do a lot of damage with a 110 attack and a 105 base speed. And Stab Bug, I'll say this for the rest of the season, Stab Bug is fantastic in my opinion. Going to Murphy's team now, he's got that Mega Altaria, Pixelate as its ability, so people watch out for those returns. It's got Mega Altaria has 110 in attack, defense, special attack, and it's got that 105 special defense. Its speed tier is not great at 80, but it gets Dragon Dance. This Pokemon specifically is a really underappreciated Mega. I was considering picking up this Mega for a good amount of time. He's got Garchomp, which he dropped. Well, he dropped Dragonite to pick up Garchomp, and I think that was a very good idea on his part, looking at the other teams in his division, who else he had to play. I think that Dragonite is good, but I think Garchomp's even better. Ask Mike, he'll tell you about it in lengths. It does,
infinitum.
yeah. I think that once you get a Swords Dance up with this thing, it's a huge threat. I think that it's very versatile for this draft format. Milotic. If this was on Kyle's team, I'd probably quit the game because of how dumb of a stall Pokemon this is with Marvel Scale. And with, I think competitive sets are actually really interesting too, but it's a gamble because nobody puts genders on their Pokemon except for me. But it's great stall with Recover, Scald. I think that Rest Talk Milotic is also really gross because you can just keep proccing Marvel Scale because you have Rest Up. Amarowak. Murphy's drafted Amarowak twice now, and I like the Pokemon on paper, and then you go to run calcs, and it's not fast enough to do anything. If you bring it defensive, it's not strong enough to kill anything because it's got only 80 attack. But it's got that 110 base defense, so it's pretty good, and it's a stealth rocker, and it has coverage. I think that most people don't expect how much damage Shadow Bone does, but it's pretty good. It has uses, but it's a very situational Pokemon. Lucario. Now, I love Lucario. I've always loved Lucario. It's got a 110 attack. It's got a 115 special attack, but its speed tier is 90. And that's such an awkward space for it to be in because it already outspeeds the things it's gonna kill, guaranteed. So the things that you need, like it won't outspeed threats, but it'll outspeed things that aren't a threat. So how do you use this? Well, then do you have to bring Scarf? Well, what if you bring Band and Priority? Well, priority moves aren't as strong if I want to bring close combat, but I'm not as fast. What do I do? You know what I mean? You have to bring it Jolly, you have to bring it Timid. Yes, but I think that in the right scenario, Lucario is huge. Quagsire, my boy. Oh, Quagsire, I love you so much. With Unawares, its ability, its stats aren't even that great with 95 in HP and then 85 in attack and defense and a 65 in special attack and special defense and 35 in speed. It's not outspeeding anything, but it doesn't matter because you're eating up every hit. You're clicking Recover, you're clicking Toxic, you're clicking Scald, EQ, Earth Power, Ice Beam. This thing is a threat. I'm telling you right now, anybody that fights Quagsire, get your ass ready for this thing. For a Rocky Helmet, for
Bring
leftovers.
A grass move, please.
Bring more than one grass move. Bring multiple grass moves across Pokemon. Bring HP Grass on 3 Mons. I'm serious. Gardevoir. Murphy's been bringing Gardevoir exclusively as a Assault Vest Special Defensive Wall because it has a 115 Special Defense. But I think that if you Scarf this Mon against the right team, it's gross. It has great moves. It's got a 125 Special Attack. Its Speed tier is 80, which isn't great, but a Scarf can make up for it. With Trace as an ability... Oh, Trace... Trace Regenerator, people. Watch out, Mike. We got Rotom Mow, Grass type with Levitate. Oh, an Electric type with Levitate is always good. Scarfed or Specs, this Pokemon's threatening. It gets a Defog now. I think Hex Willow is like a good set on almost every Rotom, not just Rotom Wash, because they all have the same stats. I think Leaf Storm is really good. I think there's not a lot of strong grass moves out there, and I don't think people expect it. I mean, they expect it from Rotom Mow, but I don't think people expect how much damage it does. Going into his next Pokemon, we have Scrafty with 3, in my opinion, great abilities. With Shed Skin, because you have a 33% chance to cure a status at the end of each turn. Moxie, which is great for scarfing it and revenge killing into doing more, and then Intimidate, which I think is its probably best ability. An AV Intimidate set or a Rocky Helmet Intimidate set is great. It gets Fake Out, all the punches, knock off, its moveset's so big.
It's way more defensive than it looks, too. You'd think it'd be more based in attack.
Oh my god,
it's like
yeah. Its
biggest stat is like 110 defense or something.
Yeah, it's got
right?
115 in defense and special defense, and that's why people bring it
There
as
you
a
go.
wall. You bring like max HP, max attack, honestly. If you bring like a bulk up set with like Rocky Helmet, like that is hard to switch in on a physical Pokemon. Its only downside, in my opinion, is its speed being 58, which is not very good. Its HP is only 65, also not too great. And fairy types being as good as they are. Arbok, he picked up Arbok because he needed a poison type, because he had a steel type in Lucario, but he wanted a poison type. So I said Arbok is available, and he said sold. I'm not too sure on what this thing does with an 80 base speed tier and a 95 base attack, but it gets decent coverage moves. It gets Dragon Tail, surprisingly. Joe, I don't know if you have anything more to say about this, but I really don't know too much about Arbok.
About
Yeah.
Arbok? Coil sets are what you get in random battles.
Yeah, I think Coil Glare is its only redeeming quality, with like Gunk
I
Shot.
like Arbok.
I
though.
think
it does get Intimidate, too.
Yeah, Intimidate is another great ability, and it also has Shed Skin, so it's almost the same thing, except not as defensive. His last Pokemon is Furfrou. I think Furfrou has been on my draft list every season. I think Furfrou is a very not looked at Pokemon, but with Fur Coat as an ability and a 102 speed and an or a 60 base defense, that means its base defense goes to 120, and it gets Cotton Guard. So that means he can get it to +6 in 2 turns. And those are the 2 teams in review.
Wow. So, I don't know if you guys noticed, but we have some breaking news as that was going on, Thomas.
Ooh.
I just watched it. It was crazy.
I didn't watch it.
Charizard put in the finest of work.
Regular
So
Charizard?
Garrison got a +2 win over Dave here, so Diamond, that leads us right into the Conference Cup. We're talking about it here, everybody. Let me put it in the books right now. Edit. +2 for Diamond. We are on top with 5 points. I gotta hand it to Garrison. I'm sure he did a fine work. I'm gonna take Manny's word for it, because I have not watched it yet.
Yeah, I gotta watch it myself.
Dude, it was bonkers, dude. Prankster Will-O-Wisp was broken.
Yeah.
But we have here that, looking at the Conference Cup standings after 2 weeks, it's not terribly impressive as of yet. It could be literally anybody's week next week. Diamond is in the lead right now, +5, followed by Sapphire, the big win from Murphy on that one, getting the +3, and then we've got Ruby at 2, and finally Pearl, my 2 fellow commissions, both in Pearl here, got the big fat goose egg on that one. Get your shit together.
Wait until me and Thomas get
Yeah, wait a second. Our first 2 matches were Derek and Dave. Come on. And like Dave's pretty good. But
Dave is good, and he got that was a fun game that just happened with him and Garrison for sure. But like, come on now. Like, give us a chance to get our big hitters in the Conference Cup first.
Well, we'll see where that stands next week here. And with that as well, the commish picks are in for that here. And we have here, we were tied before this match. Everybody was 6-3. Now, as a result of that, with Garrison's victory here, Manny, I'm sorry, you are once again, actually, you're 6-4 this week. So, good for you there. Thomas and I both coming in at 7-3, which I don't have the totals or anything for that yet here. I think I'm still winning, so haha, fuck you.
Yeah, you're beating me. I think I'm I'm still in last. Manny's in second still. Feels bad.
So moving swiftly right along then to the picks that we have for this week here. Gentlemen, looking at the schedule here, the very first one that we got, it is M1 versus Trevor. This one I think is going to be hilarious. I love it. I'm taking my boy M1 on this one because, no offense to Trevor, but M1's on a hot streak right now. It took Trevor like 6 weeks to get 2 wins in Season 3, maybe even 1 win. M1's already got 2. I'm going with my boy.
M1 +3. Let's go.
Oh, shit.
I gotta give it to Trevor because I believe in my boy to pick it up.
Wow, all right, cool. So next we have here Rob versus Mario. This is a bounce-back game for Mario. I think he's taking it.
Yeah, I gotta think that he's taking it.
Sweep it.
Sweeping it on that one. Now we've got Tristan versus Dan here. Again, this is a bit of a revenge week for Tristan. He kind of almost eked out that victory against Carmine. I think he's taking it this week.
Give me Tristan.
Tristan, sweep it.
Well, we're sweeping again. All right. Let's see if it continues here. We've got Murphy versus Carmine, which Thomas and I talked about a little bit before the match here. I'm taking Murphy on this one, probably because he beat Carmine once already. last season.
I'm going to go with my fellow 2-0 buddy and go with Murphy in this one.
I gotta give to Carmine because after losing to Murphy last season, I'm pretty sure he vowed never to have that happen ever again.
Oh shit! Thomas's information. We don't.
So I gotta say I gotta think that Carmine is gonna be a little more savvy this time.
We've got Joe versus Gage, a match where I don't know if I'm gonna be fighting a real person, so I gotta take myself on this one.
Yeah, those bots aren't too smart.
Sweep
Give me
it.
Joe.
Sorry, Gage. Sweep it.
Then we've got, again here, Mr. Consistent turning into Mr. Cancer here, Kyle versus Garrison. I even after Garrison's performance that I haven't seen yet, that I'm going to talk about like I have seen, I got to go with Kyle on this one.
I'm going with Kyle.
Kyle's team is disgusting, and we might have to talk about banning stall teams from the league after this season, because this shit's disgusting.
Moving on, we've got our boy Manny here versus Tyler. I gotta take on this one a little guy by the name of Manny.
I'm taking myself. No surprise.
I got Manny +4. Tyler, I should have +6 to you. Eat your heart out.
Let's go.
Oh shit, dude. All right, so after that here we have Dave versus Derek here. I think Dave is he now 0-2 to start after this loss here? Fuck, Dave needs a win here, and it's got to be Derek, so Dave's winning this one.
I got Dave.
Dave, sign me up for his first win.
Dave, watch out for Gyro Ball Magnezone.
Another big sweep here. Next up, we have James versus Mike, and I am gonna flip my goddamn shit if Mike does not win this match. One, because it'll be amazing, and two, because this is a fucking, no offense to James, this is a layup, Mike. Look at all his ice, and you love Flare Blitzing into shit. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, so much Flare Blitz against so much ice, and close combating against so much ice. Like, you got ice in front of you, man. Just do it.
I'm gonna hedge my bet here. I'm going with Mike, but because I think Mike's gonna win. But if Mike lost, I would still love it either way. So I don't mind taking the L on that one.
Oh yeah, 100%. Either way, I'm enjoying this match.
Again, we're all choosing Mike again. This is the third time we have all chosen. I think this might be the only, well, other than ourselves, of course. No, even then, because you two fought each other the first week. So I think me and Mike are the only, like, picks, and Kyle, are the picks that we've made, like, all of them the entire time. And this, if Mike loses this one, no, we're never voting for him again.
Yes.
Again.
Never.
Never again. Confirmed.
Never. He'll get the Tyler treatment.
And finally, Preston versus Thomas. I think I gotta go Thomas on this one.
I'm gonna go with Thomas on this one as well.
I think I gotta go with myself, but I gotta say, it's gonna be an interesting match, I think.
And with that here, put the picks in the books. Goddamn, here we are at the end of the road again. It is inside the PFL Week 2. Gentlemen, with Week 3 ahead here, I gotta ask, is this the most important week moving forward?
You goddamn right it is.
I believe it's always the most important week. I think that's the whole point.
Damn it, Thomas, that's a joke!
But is it a joke or is it completely serious? Because it's always important, because everything's important in this league.
It's very important, and I think that just as long as everybody knows, hey, this is an important week, so prepare for the team that you're going up against. How about? And
Not the player. Let's go. Focus,
Oh, yeah,
League. I've seen better out of you.
Dude, Zam? I'm prepping for Zam, for Gyarados, and Coco like it's nobody's fucking business.
yeah, as you should be, because that shit is scurry. I would know. So until next week, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully we have everything. Hopefully we're not all completely fucking destroyed by these matches, because it is the most important week. But we'll be signing off right here for Inside the PFL. I am Joe.
Good luck, everyone. Peace.
It's been real. Good luck.
And enjoy your games. Have fun.